Hey guys, welcome to the new video. I hope you all are doing well. So if you are planning to apply for a visitor or a tourist visa for your parents, siblings, friends or relatives, this video is for you because in today's video I am going to show the in detail process of applying a visitor visa online for them. In today's video I am going to discuss about the new portal which the IRCC has launched and how you can apply with the new portal for a visitor visa for any of your relatives. So let's start with the video. If you guys are still confused whether you want to apply with the new portal or the old portal, don't worry, I also have a detailed process video on how you can apply with the previous old IRCC portal, and I'll put the description in link and you can go check it out, and if you want you can apply with the previous portal. But today we are going to talk about the new portal. But before we start, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you can do that because I make a lot of informational content which might be useful for you. So let's start with the video now. So we will go to Google and search for Canada visitor visa. Once we do that, we can go here to the second link which says visit Canada. So now once you are here on the IRCC's website, you can see here there are various options available, but since we are applying for a visitor visa, we'll click on this option which says apply for a visitor visa. Once we do this, there are several sections which explain who needs a visitor visa, who can apply, how to apply, what happens after you apply, and preparation for the arrival. You can also see the processing times here, and then you will see the fees here which may vary. But we can start with how to apply. Once we do this, there's a checklist given here which you can select the options which are relevant to you, and then we can proceed. So for example, why are you applying a visitor visa? So now we are filling this section as the person who is applying to come to Canada. So why are they coming to Canada? You can either choose to visit as a tourist if they're coming for tourist purposes, or if they are your relatives and you want to apply for your parents, your siblings, then you select the option for a family visit. What is your family member status in Canada? So this will be the family member status to which they are coming to in Canada, whether they are Canadian citizen, temporary resident, or Canadian permanent resident. So you can select that. For example, I'll select Canadian permanent resident. You can select the temporary resident if you are an international student. Do you plan to visit your children or grandchildren for more than 6 months? I'll select no because this is not a super visa application and we are just wanting to apply for them to come to Canada on a visitor visa for less than 6 months. I'll click on continue. So now you can see the various documents which you will require beforehand in order to apply. So the documents are, first is the proof of relationship to prove how they are related to the person who is in Canada. You can click this section and see which details to include. Then you will need their identity document. These are the kind of documents which are accepted. The use of representative form is not necessary if you are not using someone else to file the visa for you. Family information form, this is a form which you can download and then you need to fill it out. Once this is done, this is just for you to collect any documents beforehand, but this is where you apply. You need to sign into the IRCC portal to start the application process. So you can online apply for a visitor visa. You have to sign in with the IRCC portal, but if you do not have an IRCC portal yet, just click on the get invite code button. Once you do that, you will need to fill out your email address and confirm your email address, and then click on get invitation code, and then you will get an invitation code on your email address, and they will direct you how you can create your account further. But if you already have an account like I have, you'll just click on sign in to the IRCC portal, and then sign in with your email address and password. So you can see here, I have already signed in. Therefore, it directly asks me to start an application, but they will ask you to fill out your username and password, and then you will reach here to the My IRCC portal account, which is the portal where you will be applying for the visa. So you need to start an application. There are different categories. For the visitor visa, you need to start under the apply to visit, study or work in Canada as a temporary resident. You click here and then you will reach to the next page. They are asking you to make sure you are eligible to apply, have these items ready and follow these steps. Just click on I acknowledge and start the application. They're asking, do you want to apply for more than one people at the same time? So if your parents are applying together, so for example, if your mother and father are applying together, you can select yes. If you just want to apply for either your mother or your father or your sibling as just one person, then you just select no. So right now I'll do no because I will just show you the process for one person, but it's just exactly the same thing. I can maybe show you how it looks like. So I'll select two yes. So I'll select yes that I am applying for two people. I'll select the type of group that applies to your situation. So for example, you're applying for your parents. You will say it's a family and you can give any name to the group. So for example, I'll say parents. And then I can save and continue. All right. So here you can see you can manage the group. For example, right now at this time, this is the application for one person. You can add a member, which will be your mother as a second person, and then continue with their application as well. So I'll just go back and instead just continue with the application for one person. Then they'll ask me the question of I want to apply for, what do I want to apply for? Whether it's a study permit, visitor visa, in our case it's visitor visa. Then they will ask, why do you need a visa? So you have to carefully read all the options and select the correct one. So you'll see the options most relevant to you here. It can be either to visit my spouse, common law partner, dependent child, parent, step parent, guardian who is a Canadian citizen, person registered under Canada's Indian Act, or a permanent resident of Canada. So if you are coming to visit any of these people, you will select this option. What I think the two options most relevant to you would be to visit my spouse, common law partner, dependent child, parent who is in Canada temporarily, such as an international student or a temporary worker. So if you are an international student, your parents will be selecting this option. But if you are a permanent resident of Canada or a Canadian citizen, you can select this option because it says you are a non-dependent child. For example, I will select this one since I am not dependent. And then they will ask you to tell them more about their stay in Canada. So for example, your parents are coming, you can simply write that I want to visit my daughter from June to July. I've just written a general explanation, but you write a bit more in detail. You have 475 characters allowed, so you can write the exact dates and why you are coming to Canada. So you can say I'm coming for my child's convocation, or if there's any other occasion, you can just mention it here. Then they ask you exactly when will you enter Canada. So you have to select the dates. For example, if it's in the month of June, you can say June 1st, and till when do you plan to be in Canada? Say July 10th. And UCI code is optional. You can just save and continue without it. Then they will ask you about a few other documents which they will require. You can just continue. Are you applying on behalf of someone else? You can select no, since your parents will either be applying themselves or you will be applying for them. So that's fine. You don't have to select the representative option. Then comes the details of the person who's applying. So for example, it's for your father. So you will write your father's given name and last name as it's on their passport. Just select their date of birth. Just an example. The gender, and then continue. Then they'll ask what type of travel document they'll be using. So they'll be using a passport. What kind of passport they have? Regular. Select the country code that matches the one on their passport. So India in my case. Nationality of the passport. What is your passport's or travel documents number? So you can write any according to you. Confirm the passport or travel document number. And then date of issue of passport. So select the date. And then, are you a lawful permanent resident of United States? No. Have you held a Canadian visitor visa in the past 10 years? So now it depends. If you're getting your parents or the siblings visa renewed, then you'll say yes. Otherwise, you'll say no. Do you currently hold a valid US non-immigrant visa? No, in my case. And are you traveling to Canada by air? Yes. Save and continue. Country or territory where you were born. So you'll write about the country or territory where they were born. City or town where they were born. Are you a citizen of more than one country or territory? No. Which country or territory are you a citizen of? I am a citizen of this country since birth, if this is applicable, and then save and continue. National identity document of the applicant. Do you have a valid national identity document? You can select yes and just fill in the document number, which in this case I would say should be the passport. Confirm the document number. Again, date of issue as we had selected earlier, and select the country that issued this document, and then save. Have you used any other name in the past? No. What's your residential address? Select a country or territory for your address, and then you can write the address. Just an example. Is your mailing address same as your residential address? Yes. List your current country or territory of residence, then add all other countries or territories where you have lived in the past 5 years. So you have to list all the areas, all the countries where the person you're applying for has lived in the past 5 years for more than 6 months. So in in this case, if your parents or whoever you're applying for only has lived in India, you can just select for their history in India, status in the country, citizen, and from. So it should be from since birth. This is where I currently live, and then you save it. All right, and since I don't have anything else, I'll just save and continue. Or you can add if there are other countries for you to list. Biometrics. Do we already have your fingerprints and photo? If they have already given biometrics before, select yes, otherwise select no. And save and continue. Who is inviting you? Now this will be your details or the person's detail who is inviting them. So for example, if it's you, it should be your name. Relationship to you is family member, and then you should write your address here, your mailing address, Canada. Start typing to find the address. So just for example, I'll select this particular address, and then they'll ask for a telephone number. And then just type your email address. Had someone else also invited you? No. I'm missing something. Yeah. And okay, should be okay now. How much money do you have for your stay in Canada? So since it's a visitor visa, the person coming should show if they are sponsoring themselves. So if you want to show, most probably I would say that the number of days they are staying for multiplied by $100 would be good if they are staying with you. So in this case, they're coming for 45 days, so I'd say $4,500. And you can, it's not mandatory, the amount can be less as well. If someone else is giving you money for your stay in Canada, if you want to select that, you can select yes and provide details of who is giving them money. For example, if you are inviting your parents, you can say that you are sponsoring them, and you can provide details of that you will be sponsoring them. In this case, I'll just select no, and they are sponsoring their own travel, and save and continue further. Then these are the details of their post-secondary education. Have you ever studied at a post-secondary level? And just add the education details. So it can be, just for example, and just fill in the dates when they studied, from which to which date, and level of study, university bachelor's, field of study, and country of study, street address. So this is the address of the institution, and then city studied, and you can save this. Then they will also ask for the work activities. So if they have any work activities, if it is military or police, did you serve in military, you select yes, otherwise no. Give details of all the employment activities in the past 10 years. So just give the employment activity details here. So for example, just give all their employment history from which date to which date and all of that. I'm just using here an example. The job title, main duties, you have to write here the main duties, and then select the address of the company, and then save. Alright, so this part is complete too. Then click on save and continue. And they are saying that the employment activities for the past 10 years need to be given, which are missing. So I'm just going to edit it. So it means you need to give the past 10 years employment details. So in this case, what I'm going to just do is 2024, and I'm going to say that they are employed here since January. I think it should work. And of course, in your case, you'll give all the correct details. And then you need to give travel history during the past 5 years. Have you traveled to a country or territory other than the one where you are a citizen of? So if your parents or whoever you are applying for have traveled to any other country, just select yes and add the details, just like we have added the education or the work details. For me, I'll select no, and then save and continue. Have you ever stayed in Canada beyond the validity of your status? So I'll select no. Have you ever been refused a visa or a permit or denied to enter or order to leave any country or territory? Just select if this is valid for you. In my case, no. And then save and continue. Have you ever committed any crime in any country? Have you ever been arrested for any criminal offense? Have you ever been charged for criminal offense? Have you ever been convicted of any criminal offense? So none for all of them, and I'll then save and continue. Then are you or have you ever been a member associated with any political party? No. Have you ever witnessed or participated in the ill treatment of prisoners? No. Save and continue. Then comes to the medical history. Have you had a medical exam performed by IRCC within the last 12 months? No. And save. And then there's medical background. Just read the questions and select whatever applies to you. And then few more questions about the medical history. Then they will ask you about your marital status. So of course, again, it depends. If you are applying for your parents, siblings, a sibling who is single, you can select likewise. So in this case, if you are applying for your father, just declare that they are married, and date of marriage you have to select here. So just for example, I'll select, and then you have to give the name of the spouse or your mother, and then your mother's date of birth is required as well. The details of your mother are required, their occupation, if they're currently working, for example, education. Is their address same as yours? Yes. Will your spouse accompany you to Canada? So of course, if you are applying for both, then here you will say yes. In my case, I'll say no, and then save and continue. Do you have any biological, adopted, or stepchildren? Of course, you'll select yes, but if it's for your sibling who doesn't have a child, then you select no. And if you're selecting yes, just add the details of the children. In this case, if you're applying for your father, you'll write here your name, and then you can add and write the name of your siblings as well, and the relationship to you, your country of birth. Does this child have the same address as yours? No. Then you'll have to give your address here, so they'll know that this is the same child who is inviting them to Canada. Start typing your address. All right. And if the child is not in Canada, will they accompany you to Canada? No. So if, for example, there's your sibling who is in India, you just select no if they're not accompanying your father on this trip. And like I said, you can add other children, your siblings, here by clicking on the add option. Save and continue. All right. Tell us about your parents. If you were adopted, provide the details about your legal parents. So here you have to give details about your grandparents, so your parents' parents, so whoever is applying, their parents. So here, for example, it would be so your father's mother's name, and then their date of birth, of course, and then their country of birth. So you need to give all this information. Their present occupation, if any. I think we can write this. Not working. Does the parent have same address as yours? Yes. Will they accompany you to Canada? No. Save. So I'll just, for example, put information of one parent and see. What's your native language or the mother tongue? So you can use the native language here. Can you communicate in English or French? What language do you want to use to contact you? English. I'll save and continue. And then your email address. So this is the email address of the applicant. So just, and I'll confirm. All right, once done, save and continue. Just, all right, so this is saved. Then you have to enter your telephone number. Is it cellular? Is it Canada or other country? So since it's yours or the applicant's number, it is the other country, just put the dial code. So for example, for India, it's +91, and just write the telephone number, and let's see, I think 91 is good, and then save and continue. All right, so here you will be now able to see the summary of the information you have filled. You can check all the information here, all the details, so that you can double check that everything has been filled correctly. And once you double check, you can proceed. Otherwise, you can also click on edit and edit any of these details that you have already filled in. Just click on save and continue. Now you reach the page which is the documents to support your application. So here you will attach the documents which are needed to support your application. So the first document is the national identity document. You can just click here and you will be given all the details of what it should be. So you must, and it also gives you details what all you need to upload. So in this case, you must scan all necessary identity documents and save them under one identity document file. So if you have multiple documents, just make a PDF and upload it. In this case, you will just upload the passport, and then again in the passport travel document, you will upload the passport. For the proof of funds, you need to upload the proof of funds. You can check here what all you can upload, but usually you need to upload the bank statements for the last 4 months of the applicant. Then you need to upload a certified check. Then you need, or you can upload written statements from the processing officer. So you can select any of these. Any is fine. And if you are showing that this person will be sponsored by someone else, then you need to show their proofs. So you can read which proofs are valid and you can then upload them here. Then there are certain optional documents as well, which they require from you. So you can upload those optional documents. And once that is done, you need to save and continue further. Alright, so once I select save and continue, once I upload all the documents and select save and continue, you will reach the consent and declaration form. Do you consent to be contacted by CIC? Select yes. Then you need to give your first name and last name. It's kind of a signature that all the information given by you is correct. So in this case, it's going to be your name. And then you can save and continue. Alright, so now you reach the page where you need to pay your fees. So the fees here is 185 Canadian dollars, so $100 for the visa and $85 for the biometrics. Click on save and continue. And now you will be redirected to the payments page where you need to make the payment. So you can enter all your card information and everything here, and then you can make the payment and your application will be submitted. So I hope the process was clear to you, and now you can apply for a visitor visa for your loved ones yourself online without the help of any consultant. If you like the video, do hit the like button, and please, if you have any comments or questions, you can ask me in the comment section. You can also follow me on my Instagram channel and ask me any questions there if you have any. And if you think that this video can help any of your friends or relatives, you can send this video to them, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye guys.